Hello students. So far we are discussing about consumer behavior analysis, right? As we have discussed in the last video, consumer behavior or buyer behavior is that behavior exhibited by consumers in planning, purchasing and using economic goods and services for the satisfaction of their wants, right? Or else in simple we can say that consumer behavior is a behavior exhibited by consumers in planning or purchasing or and using the goods and services, right? Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is one important topic, that is factors influencing consumer behavior or buyer behavior, right? So the consumer behavior is influenced by several factors or forces. So it influences on internal or psychological factors, sociocultural factors, economic factors, personal factors and other factors. So let us discuss one by one. So what are the factors which influence on consumer buying behavior? Move on. First one, that is psychological factors or internal factors. So this buying behavior of consumers is influenced by a number of internal or psychological factors, that they are motivation or perception, learning, beliefs and attitudes and personality. Let us discuss one by one. First one, motivation. What is motivation? So motivation is a force that activates goal oriented behavior. So it is a psychological technique to inspire human beings to act in a particular way as desired by the motivating agent. So in the field of marketing, motivation acts as a driving force that implies an individual to take action to satisfy his needs. So motivation is one of the internal or psychological factors influencing consumer buying behavior. So you know that man is a perpetual wanting animal, right? So therefore when one need is satisfied, a new need at a higher level emerges, right? So in simple, a motive can be defined as is an inner urge that moves a person to some action, or else we can say that a motive can be defined, or it is an urge or it is a drive for which an individual seeks satisfaction. So it becomes a buying motive when the individual seeks satisfaction through the purchase of something. So this is about motivation. Next one, perception. A motivated person is ready to act, right? How the person acts is influenced by his perception of the situation or according to his behavior. So here the two persons with the same motivation and in the same situation may act quite differently, right? So if they perceive the situation differently, now the question is, why do people have different perceptions when they are in the same situation? All of us are able to learn by the flow of information through our five senses, that is sight or hearing, smell, touch and taste, but each one of us have perceives, or they have their own perception or organizes and interprets the sensory or information in an individual way. So people from different perceptions of the same stimulus, because of three perceptional processes, that is selective exposure, selective distortion and selective retention. So what is this perception? Perception is a process by which an individual selects or organizes and interprets information inputs to create a meaningful picture of the world. So the process by which the people select or organize the interpret and information to from a meaningful picture of the world or situation is called perception of each in the same situation. So perception is a meaning we attribute to stimuli or received through our five senses or the way we interpret stimulus. Or in short, we can say that perception is the process of interpreting information to select a response to a stimulus. And next one, learning. Oh, when people act, they learn. Learning may be defined as changes in the behavior of an individual or arising from past practice or previous experience. So, the people or customers, they learn something from the practice, or they learn learn something from the previous experience. So, most human behavior is learned. That is, human behavior is learned by user experience. So, usually the people learn something or learn new things from experience. So learning is the product of reasoning, thinking, information processing and perception. So this buying behavior of individual is critically affected by their learning experience. So learning occurs through the interplay of drives or stimuli or responses and reinforcement. So this learning can be defined, or the objects are stimuli which satisfy the drives. Understood? So here, the practical importance of learning is that the marketing managers can build a demand for their products by associating it with strong drives. So using motivating cues and providing positive reinforcement. So a new firm can enter the market by appealing to the same drives as its rivals and by providing similar or even better cues to attract buyers. Or it may design its brand so as to make an appeal to a different set of drives, or and offer strong cues to change the buying or buyer's behavior. So this is about learning. So usually the people, they learn something new from the experience or past practices. Understood? Next we discuss about attitudes or beliefs. So people through acting and learning develop their beliefs and attitudes, so which in turn influence their buying behavior. Here, an attitude is a state of mind or feeling. It may be described as a person's emotional feelings or action, or which towards some idea or object. So it explains a person's relatively consistent evaluations, feelings and tendencies towards an object or an idea. So what is beliefs? Beliefs refers to, and it is a descriptive thought, or else in Kannada vivaranatmaka anta ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, right? So descriptive thought, so which a person has about something. So marketing managers also are also they are generally interested in the beliefs that the people formulate about specific products and services. So here the people or attitude, so this attitude cannot be changed easily because a person's attitudes settle into a consistent pattern. So the marketing managers should usually try to fit firms products into existing attitudes rather than trying to change the attitudes themselves. So here the attitudes and belief also, which is a factor which influence on the buying behavior of the customer or buyer. Next one, personality. What is personality? A personality of an individual refers to his personal traits or personal qualities that determine his buying behavior. So it is made up of such personal traits as dominance or sociability or friendliness or responsibility or aggressiveness or independence and competitiveness. So these primary features of personality are self concept, so roles to be played and levels of consciousness. This is about what personality. So here the self concept or self image indicates how a person sees himself and how he believes others to see him at a particular time. So the roles played by an individual includes roles such as loving parent, affectionate wife, or loving husband, friendly customer, efficient manager, so etc. The personality. So here personality means personal traits or personal ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ಅಂತೇವೆ, or else ಅಧಿಕಾರ, so or else qualities, also ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು qualities which determine his behavior. So here the personality of the customer which determine the buying behavior. Next, to move on, second one, that is socio-cultural factors. So human beings are social animals. So their perception or beliefs and attitudes and behavior are greatly influenced by social cultural factors. So these socio-cultural factors which influence on the buying behavior of the customer. Some of the social cultural factors are there: family, reference groups, social class, and culture. So let us discuss one by one. What is family? Family, you know that there are two types of family: nuclear family and joint family. So nuclear family is one wherein only the husband and wife and their children live together. Joint family is means in there wherein not only the husband and wife, their children, but also their close relatives like uncles, aunts, cousins, and in-law, like law or live together. So this is about family. So family members can strongly influence the buying behavior, particularly in the Indian context, right? So the taste, like, dislike, lifestyle, etc. of the members are rooted in the family buying behavior. So again, the consumers, they pass through different stages in their lives over a period of time. So which is also known as family life cycle. So different stages of family life cycle are marriage, birth of children, maturation of children, or married children living home, and older couple with no children living at home, and so on. The family life cycle, which indicates that family needs and their buying roles change with the life cycle stage of the family. So this is about a family. So here the family, they grow older, roles become more specialized, and decision making for any given product becomes more unilateral, and quite obviously the pattern of consumption and purchase of changes, or purchase changes. Next one, reference groups. What is reference groups? This reference group is a group of people with whom an individual associates, or else, in other words, we can say that it is a group of people who influence a person's attitudes or values and behavior. So, reference groups refers to all the groups that have an influence, whether direct or indirect, on person's behavior. So, there are so many types of reference groups, or various reference groups are there: membership groups, primary groups, secondary groups, aspirational groups, and dissociative groups. So, these are the some types of groups, or reference group. So in a reference groups, there may be a group leader who acts as an opinion leader, and whose lifestyle is most likely to be adopted by others in a groups. So that is the beliefs, preference, actions, and behavior of such an opinion leader are adopted by others in the group. So here the marketing managers, they have to try to contact and impress upon the opinion leader to popularize their products. That is why these reference groups also which influence on the buying behavior of the customer. Understood? Next one, a social class. What is this social class, or status of the customer? So consumer behavior is determined by the social class to which they belong. So social class is relatively a permanent and order division in a society whose members share similar value or interest and behavior. So here the social class is not determined by a single factor such as income, but it is measured as a combination of various factors such as income, occupation, education, authority, power, property, ownership, lifestyle, consumption pattern, etc. That means here the social class is not only determined by not only by the income, but also some other factors such as income. So what is the occupation of the customer or consumer, or qualification, education qualification, or authority or power, or property ownership, or lifestyle of the customer, which also influence on the consumer, or which buying behavior of the customer. And next one, the culture. What is the culture? Culture means so here the culture, it is an unique set of learned beliefs or values or attitudes or morals or customs, or else we can say that habits, and or form of behavior shared by the people in the society and transmitted from generation to generation within that society. So culture is a way of life and an overall social heritage. Understood? Next, move on third factor, that is economic factor. So here in consumer behavior is influenced largely by economic factors. Some of the various economic factors are there: personal income, family income, income expectations, savings, or liquid assets of the consumer, or consumer credit, or other economic factors are there. So these are the factors which influence on the buying behavior of the consumer. First one, personal income. What is personal income? So personal income of a person is an important determination of his buying behavior. So without income, a consumer, he cannot buy the goods, right? So the gross personal income of a person consists of disposable income and discretionary income, right? So here, so an increase in the disposable income leads to an increase in the expenditure on various items. So a fall in the disposable income, on the other hand, leads to a fall in the expenditure on various items. The next one, family income. Family income is also influenced the buying behavior of the family. So the surplus family income remaining after the expectation or expenditure on the basic needs of the family is made available for buying, shopping, goods, durables, and luxuries. So this family income is also influence on the buying behavior of the customer. And income expectations, some customers they expect more income, right? So income expectations are one of the important determinants of buying behavior. So if he expects an increase in his income, he is tempted to spend more on shopping goods or durable goods, right? On the other hand, if he expects any fall in the future income, he will curtail or he will decrease the expenditure on comforts and luxuries, right? So this is about income expectation. And uh, consumer credit. What is consumer credit? Consumer credit means credit facility is available to the consumers, right? So some customers or some marketer managers, they they give the various services or credit facilities to the customers, right? So it is made available by the sellers either directly or indirectly through banks and other financial institutions. Take for example hire purchase or installment purchase or direct bank loans, etc. The ways by which credit is more available to the consumers, right? So this consumer credit influences consumer behavior. If the more consumer credit is available on liberal terms, then the consumer he purchase these goods or he purchase more goods, right? And one more, liquid asset. So liquid asset refers to those assets which can be converted to cash quickly without any loss, right? So this is called liquidity or liquid assets. So liquid assets include cash in hand, bank balance, marketable securities, etc. are other liquid assets. So liquid assets means these are the assets which can be easily converted into cash, right? So if an individual has more liquid asset, then he goes for buying more comforts and luxuries. Or else if he has less liquid assets, then he cannot spend more on buying comforts or luxuries, right? So this is also which influence on the buying behavior of the customer. And next one, savings. All customers they save some money, right? Savings is also influence the buying behavior of individual. A change in the amount of savings leads to a change in the expenditure of an individual. So if a person decides to save more out of his present income, then he will spend less on comforts and luxuries, right? So and vice versa. And this is about what economic factors of consumer behavior. Next, move on. Fourth factor, that is personal factors. So personal factors also influence buying behavior. The important personal factors are age, occupation, income, lifestyle. So these are the personal factor which influence on the buying behavior of the customer. What is age? So here age of a person is one of the important personal factor, right? So people buy different products at their different stages of lifestyle. So their taste preference, etc., it changes it changes according to the age of the customer, right? So change in according to the change in the life cycle, so their preference, their taste or their attitude also changes. And second one, income. What is the income? Here income is also which one of the most or which is a factor which influence on the consumer behavior of the customer, right? So here income is an important source of purchasing power. So without income we cannot purchase anything, right? So which is a main important source to purchase something. So buying pattern of people differs with the different levels of income. So if a customer have less income, then he goes for a cheaper rate of product or cheap, and if he has more income, then he go for luxuries, right? So that's why the income level of people is another factor which influence on the consumption or consumption pattern of the consumers. And next one, occupation. So your occupation or profession of a person which also influence the buying behavior. So their lifestyle, buying considerations and decisions are differ widely according to their nature of the occupation. Take for example a doctor, he can be easily differentiated from that of the lawyer, teacher, clerk or businessman, right? So the marketing managers, they have to design different marketing strategies to suit the buying motives of different occupational groups. So here occupational groups or occupation is also one of the factor which influence on buying behavior of the consumer. And next one, lifestyle. So lifestyle of a person determines his interaction with the society in which he lives. So marketing managers, they have to design different marketing strategies to suit the lifestyle of the consumers. So lifestyle refers to, or it means it is a person's pattern, or it is a way of living as expressed in his activities or interests and opinions. Next, to move on, last factor, that is other factors. So some of the other factors, such as political factors, legal factors, and technology and ethical consideration, which also influence on the consumer buying behavior. What is political factors? Political factors means so it is controlled by the government, right, or controlled by the economy. So your consumption pattern is determined by the government. So but in the free capitalist economy, consumers have economic freedom and wider choice and are free to spend their income in any way they like, right? So a political factor which also influence on the consumer behavior or buying behavior. And next one, legal behavior. What is legal behavior? If the tax, take for example, if the taxes are very low, legal restrictions are less, right? Consumer expenditure will be more. On the other hand, if the taxes are very high, the restrictions on the purchases are more, right? It is a common. Consumer expenditure will be less. That's why the consumer expenditure is governed by legal factors like taxes or tax laws, etc. And next one, technology. So technological advances which contribute to the production and availability of modern goods. So as more and more modern goods are released to the market, the more will be the consumer expenditure on those goods. So the technological advances also influence the buying behavior of the consumer. And ethical consideration. What is the ethical consideration? Ethical consideration means, or else we can say that it's a sense of morality, which is an effect or which effect on the buying behavior of the consumer. Take for example, if people are religious and spiritual minded, they spend less on modern comforts and luxuries, right? So if people are educated or civilized and advanced, they spend more on the comforts and luxuries. So other factors also influence the buying behavior of the consumers. Marketers have to take into consideration all the above factors and also the frame their marketing strategies in such a way as to suit the above factors. So uh, so these are the 5 factors which influence on the consumer buying behavior, right? So these are internal or psychological factors, sociocultural factors, economic factors, personal factors, or other factors. So uh, by this end of factors influencing consumer behavior. So in the next class we will discuss about buying decision process. I hope these things are understood, right? So very important concept. Please, if you have any doubts, you can clarify it. Thank you.